think the biggest issue facing all of us in all the different council districts is the homelessness problem.
The biggest issue facing San Diego today is housing affordability. Housing affordability impinges on every aspect of San Diego. It's a part of the homelessness problem, and year after year after year, it gets worse and worse. We've had council after council, and the county and at the local level, the state level, declare housing affordability a crisis, but it still persists.
Housing and homelessness we're at a crisis in San Diego. And for millennials and young people, it's even more of a crisis because rents are skyrocketing, our incomes haven't caught up, we're carrying student debt, and it really is impacting our ability to think about whether or not we can even live in this city, and it impacts every facet of our life.
Right now, really want to focus on our infrastructure, our $2 billion backlog. We really need to make sure that our city's streets, roads, and our capital improvement projects moving forward to really make sure that we're focusing on the infrastructure issues that are crippling our city today.
The biggest issue facing San Diego today has to be the homelessness crisis.
After knocking on hundreds of doors in my community, the number one issue that I'm getting from everyone is the homeless issue. How are we going to solve homelessness?
I think recently the City Council adopted a homelessness action plan, if you will. I think we may call it something else, but it still needs to identify funding sources for it. So I think that's a good place to start. We have a good plan, but we need to figure out how to fund it and actually tackle this issue head on.
We got here with years and years of regulations that didn't support building increasing housing stocks faster and faster. It takes the permitting and the zoning process, entitlement process, takes way too long. It's very expensive for developers. Also, there are programs that don't target those most at need. But I always tell people that if you compare New York and San Diego, we have plenty of land. It's not a land problem; it's a land use problem. I've offered a new program called the PRAC, Property Realignment Commission, that's similar to the BRAC, the Base Realignment Commission, to better utilize public lands at every level, the county, the state, and the local level. And again, the solution to housing it's going to be a private and public partnership. We didn't get into this with one. This wasn't a problem of one issue, and it's going to take a comprehensive approach to get out of it.
We need to think big and bold. We actually need to think about what it would mean to solve the homelessness crisis, to provide enough housing for folks to be able to live and afford living here. We need to make sure that we're being paid enough to afford living in San Diego. And then I guess on a broader level, that means, or on a more specific level, that means actually providing some policy solutions to bridge the gap that affordable housing developers need to build the housing supply. And also the wraparound services that homeless folks need to make sure that they're supported in their transition off the streets and into homes.
First and foremost, we need to look at how departments are handling these issues. Also looking not just when it comes to infrastructure, but also the overlap between our infrastructure and our homeless crisis that we're facing here in the city. So really working to make sure all departments have a very strong and clear goal on how to tackle this issue moving forward.
For me, we definitely need a streamlining of services for our homeless community. Right now, we have 7 or 8 homeless shelters here in San Diego. All of them work independently. It kind of clogs the system, and it makes it hard for our homeless communities to get around and get the services they need.
Well, there's different priorities that we need to take in terms of homeless issue. We need to housing first. That is the number one initiative that I want to push for. Right now, we're doing everything wrong, and I want to make sure that we direct everything to housing first.